Hi everyone, my name is Nghi. I would like to thank the Board of Directors of VV Bubble Tea for inviting me here to present to you my research done on the effects of dynamic pricing on your business operations. By the end of today's presentation, you will be able to make an informed decision on whether or not VV should implement dynamic pricing at all locations. Here I have the table of contents of what will be covered throughout the entire presentation. Next, we will begin with the introduction, which will set the context and overview of the project. My entire project is about one of the only bubble tea shops in central Minnesota called VV Bubble Tea. They serve a trending drink called bubble tea, which typically contains milk tea and tapioca pearls. John Lee, the owner of VV, contacted me because he wondered how can he increase revenue at his shop. After heavy research, I brought up the idea of dynamic pricings as we have seen other industries such as hospitality adopt this revenue model. The intention of this revenue model is to change the price of the product or service based on demand and other factors. The questions me and John are wondering is if this would work in a food-based business. Next, we will look at the project scope and what it will entail. The goal of this project will be to see if we are able to maximize revenue at the St. Cloud VV Bubble Tea by using AI technology that has dynamic pricing software. The AI will be designed to automatically change the prices of drinks on the menu at different times of the day and different days of the week. For example, based on the data it is given, the AI should increase the price of every drink during peak hours of operations. The goal is to maximize revenue by increasing the price to what the consumer is willing to pay without losing customers because the price is too high. This will change their current stagnant pricing strategy, and this project will give us further information on whether or not this is a sustainable new revenue strategy. Next, we will look at the project timeline. The project will begin on April 23rd. This is when we will have John Lee purchasing the AI dynamic pricing technology. He and the rest of the team will have a week to be trained on how the dynamic pricing software will be implemented into their day-to-day operations. Employees will also have to be trained on explain the experiment too, so the customer understand why their bubble tea is a different price every time they buy it. On May 1st, the dynamic pricing strategy will be put into full effect at its St. Cloud location. We expect there to be an adjustment period, so we will take any immediate effects for granted. On May 14th, we will evaluate the data and revenue the AI dynamic pricing schedule has produced in the first 2 weeks, then make any adjustment necessary according to the results. This may involve switching the data set the AI is learning from. We will then continue with this plan every 2 weeks until they perfect the AI. On November 1st, we will then gather all deliverables, which include revenue and data reports. This will be used to compare with other VV stores to see the effectiveness of the new pricing strategy. At the very end of the year, the board of directors will be in charge of determining whether they would like to see the dynamic pricing be implemented at all stores or if it should be abandoned. Next, we will introduce the project team. First, we have John Lee, who is the owner and project sponsor for VV Bubble Tea. He will be in charge of funding the operation. Next, we have Jenny Kim, who is the head boba barista. She will be in charge of making all of the drinks during the experiment. After Jenny, we have Lisa, who will be the cashier. Her responsibility is to take customer orders and to answer all questions regarding why are the drinks prices constantly changing. Lastly, we have me, Nghi. The project is my idea, so I will be the one making the important decisions as to how the dynamic pricing software should be used. Next, we will look at potential risk and how they can be mitigated. Dynamic pricing for a food-based business hasn't really been done before, so the risk here is that Vivi would be one of the first one to try this in the beverage industry. Therefore, Vivi may end up making many mistakes since there isn't much to learn from. This is why the solution will require the project to adopt the Agile method. We must use short testing cycles to see its results, learn from it, and be able to improve the AI at how it is determining price. The beginning will be a test run as to see what data is being effective at producing desirable results with the AI. This will allow for a quick trial and error and to make adjustments as needed. Next, we will look at what it will cost to run the project. It will cost $50,000 for implementation state in order to acquire the dynamic pricing software and to get it up and running. It would then cost $20,000 monthly for the normal costs associated with running a bubble tea business, which includes expenses such as rent, labor, and materials. Then if the dynamic pricing strategy is here to stay, then it will cost around $10,000 yearly to keep it up, running, and updated. Next, we will finally get to see the progress and results of the project. Here we have the chart showing the result of the project as it represents revenue per month over a 6-month period. Early on, it looked like the dynamic pricing was working as the regular customer were willing to pay the premium in order to purchase their drink at the time that they wanted. However, we can see that St. Cloud Store ended up falling behind over time as we see a decrease in revenue due to the change in pricing strategy. Further interviewing with loyal customers led to us discovering that consumers did not feel comfortable knowing that they will have to pay a different price for their boba on each and every trip. This uncertainty led to a decrease in customer loyalty as we lost regulars. These results cannot confirm a direct correlation between the new dynamic pricing strategy and revenue since it was only tested at one location. However, it does tell a lot about how customers feel about it in an early stages. Lastly, we move on to the conclusion. With the data showing that the St. Cloud store did not perform as well as other VV bubble tea stores, management must decide whether to continue experimenting with dynamic pricing or to completely abandon it. If they choose to continue with the project, we must test the pricing strategy at all the stores nationwide and for a longer period of time to determine its effectiveness. If they choose to abandon the dynamic pricing, then they must determine what other business strategies can they implement to increase revenue. Thank you for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions. And here are my sources.